comes the card. We've got Rob Kimmons versus Steve Steinbeiss. This looks to be a bit of a squash match to me. I think this is going to be a squash match, and I do feel rather sorry for him. I'm going to go for Rob Kimmons. I'll go for TKO in the second. Darren Elkins is fighting Charles Oliveira. Charles has a perfect record of 12, wins by TKO, but also submission. He's got 6 TKO, 5 submissions. Can't find any calibers on his record. Darren Elkins, 11-1. He wins by submission, but also by TKO. 5 submissions, 4 TKOs. He does have a tendency to lose by TKO, but I think it was only once. He does have a few calibers on his record. Wins over the likes of Pat Curran and Dwayne Ludwig. I'm going to go for Darren Elkins on this one. I think I will go for submission. I'll go for a bar submission in the second. Brian Stan, who's been around WEC and the UFC forever, versus Mike Macenzio. Macenzio has the better record of 11-3. Wins by submission, loses by TKO. Brian Stan is the opposite. Wins by TKO, but he can lose in any manner going. He's actually from the Jacksons camp, which I think gives him an advantage here. He is coming off a loss, and his wins and losses do seem to revolve totally around Steve Cantwell. But he is from Jacksons, and that's quite a good camp. Mike Macenzio loses to the likes of CB Dollaway, wins over the likes of Dan Miller and Drew McFedries. This could be quite a good match, I think. I'm going to go for Brian Stan. I'll go for TKO in the third. James Irvin is fighting Igor Pokrajic. Igor has a record of 21-7, 11 TKO victories, 4 TKO losses. He is in fact coming off 2 losses, so in fact they're both coming off 2 losses. So this is like do or die for one of them anyway, as long as it's not a draw, I suppose. He is in fact funded by Krokop, so there we are. His losses include 1 to Vladimir Matyushenko. I couldn't find any calibers in his win column. James Irvin has lost to the likes of Alessio Sakara and Anderson Silva. He has won over the likes of Houston Alexander. You know, at the end of the day, I think possibly James Irvin will win this one. I don't really know why I think that. Nor do I really know how. I suppose it might be TKO. I don't know much about Igor, that's the thing. I might be safe and go for decision on that. DeMarcus Johnson is fighting Matt Riddle. DeMarcus Johnson, you know, wasn't very impressed with him in terms of his portrayal on Tough, but he is a sucker punch fighter, and I really don't like Matt Riddle at all. He was personally mean to me. Long story. So I'm going to go for DeMarcus Johnson here. Matt Riddle, you know, king of the decisions, has never been submitted, and I think DeMarcus Johnson will be the first one to do that. I'll go for choke submission in the second there. Paul Kelly, an English fighter, he's out of the Wolf Slayer with a record of 10-2. He's fighting Jacob Volkman. Volkman also has a record of 10-2. Paul Kelly tends to win by TKO. He's never seen a decision. Wins over the likes of Matt Veach, loses to quite serious calibers like Marcus Davis. Jacob Volkman, rocky in terms of his past record. Win, loss, loss, win. Loses to most of the calibers he fights, Martin Campman and Paulo Tiago being 2 examples. Having said that, Jacob Volkman has never been TKO'd. Obviously this is striker versus groundsman here. I'm going to go for Paul Kelly. I'm tempted to say this might be his first decision victory. No, I played it safe on the James Irvin one, didn't I? So I'm going to go for TKO here. I'll go for TKO in the third. Tyson Griffin versus Takanori Gomi is an interesting one. Gomi, of course, a veteran who's been fighting since about 1998. Very, very good on his feet. Tyson Griffin, a name taker, not quite as good as Frankie Edgar in terms of that respect. Tyson Griffin has had problems of late. I distinctly remember him, I think, being outboxed by Sean Shirk, which I didn't think would happen. That's a problem because Gomi is a very, very big stand-up person. And I don't know who to go for on this one at all. I think if Tyson Griffin gets his boxing under control, he has that added advantage of being a name taker, and Gomi is a name. So I will go with Tyson Griffin on that level, but I'm probably going to end up saying, you know, he will try and outbox, won't KO or TKO Gomi, will end up with the decision victory. John Howard is versing fighting Jake Ellenberger. Bit disappointed to see Ellenberger on the card. Not because I don't like him, but actually because I thought that he was, I think he's a numbered event level person. Usually wins by TKO, loses by decision. John Howard, record of 14-4, wins by submission, loses by decision. So this is going to be striker versus groundsman again. The thing that John Howard has here is a 7-fight win streak under his belt. I'm still going to go for Jake Ellenberger here. I'll go for TKO in the first. Mark Minaz versus Yushin Okami. Don't know a lot about Yushin Okami. Know a little bit from Mark Minaz. I have been in contact with him online. The thing is, Yushin Okami is very good on his feet, and the way that a lot of the people who have fought him have beaten him is by boxing with him, not getting caught, but doing enough to win the decision. I don't think that Mark Minaz will TKO him. I think what he has to do is be careful, but go for it on the feet, and he will end up with the decision victory. So that will be my prediction there. And finally, John Jones versus Vladimir Matyushenko. You know, I keep getting John Jones mixed up with the other one. For some reason, is it Anthony Johnson, something like that? I keep thinking that I keep getting mixed up between the two. John Jones is fighting out of Jackson's, but I feel in this match that might be his only little lift there. Record of 10-1, wins usually by TKO. That's fine. But he is fighting Vladimir Matyushenko. Matyushenko does lose by TKO, but he's only ever lost a couple of times, and each time he's lost to people who are seriously big in terms of knocking people out, you know, like Andrei Arlovsky. I forget who the other one is. I don't think John Jones is going to be able to do that. Yushenko is also on a 3-fight win streak, and his record is so much larger, 24-4. I'll go for Vladimir Matyushenko. How? I think I might give John Jones the benefit of the doubt and say that he puts up a good fight, shows lots of heart, but ultimately loses by submission. Sorry, by decision. That might be being nice to him. But those are my predictions for the live or versus 2 events, depending on which way you look at it.